There was something about the way he looked at me. Not just a glance, not a casual gaze, but something quieter, deeper. Like he could see beyond the surface I offered to the world, straight into the ache I had become so skilled at hiding. The ache of being unseen, even when surrounded by people. The ache of smiling while silently longing for someone to ask, "Are you really okay?" Before the story unfolds, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. It helps me more than you know. His eyes always carried warmth, gentle, easy warmth. The kind people admired in him. But with me, there was something else layered beneath it. A stillness, a knowing silence. As if he recognized the parts of me I kept buried. He saw how often I smiled, not out of joy, but habit. How often I moved through life efficiently, lovingly, but invisibly. He noticed what most didn't or chose not to. It wasn't wrong. Not yet. It was just a feeling. A soft hum in the air when he was near. A subtle shift in gravity. I never meant to feel anything back. But little by little, his presence crept into places in my heart I thought I had closed off. He never crossed a line, never said anything he shouldn't. But it was in the details. The way he stood a moment longer than needed. The way his voice dropped when he said my name. The way he remembered small things I had mentioned in passing. And suddenly, I couldn't unfeel it. He had always been there. Part of our lives. My husband's best friend. The kind of bond you admire. Old college memories. Inside jokes that made them laugh until they cried. He was practically family. Their laughter often filled our home. Their conversations a rhythm I had grown used to, even fond of. I respected what they had. I honored it. I never intended to do anything that would threaten it. But something shifted. At first, it was nothing, just a fleeting moment here and there. A quiet pause in the hallway when we passed each other. A glance across the dinner table that lingered a beat too long. I told myself I was imagining it, that I was just tired, that I was just craving something softer amidst the noise of everyday life. Still, I noticed. He noticed too. One evening, the house was full of people, laughter spilling out the back door, plates clinking, music playing low in the background. Eventually, everyone trickled inside, leaving the two of us alone under the warm blush of a summer evening. We sat in the backyard, silence stretching between us, not uncomfortable, just present. He handed me a glass of water, and when our fingers brushed, it was so brief, but something inside me stirred. "You look tired lately," he said, his voice low, tentative. I nodded too quickly. "Just busy." His eyes searched mine. "You don't have to say you're fine if you're not." That simple sentence did something to me. It cracked something open. I didn't cry. I didn't say a word. But somehow he understood. He didn't press. He just stayed beside me in that quiet, offering his presence like shelter. And for a moment, I let myself lean into it. Days passed. Nothing changed. But everything felt different. I began noticing him even more, the way he listened intently, not just to me, but to everyone. The way he carried quiet kindness like it was stitched into his very being. The way he moved through life with attentiveness that made you feel seen. I tried to refocus. I loved my husband.
He was good to me.
We were comfortable. Maybe too comfortable. Maybe too accustomed to each other. It wasn't that love was gone. It was just that it had grown quiet. And in that quiet, space had opened. One afternoon, he stopped by to return a forgotten toolbox. My husband was at work. I hesitated before inviting him in, told myself it was innocent.
It was.
We laughed, talked about something silly. But then came the silence. That heavy, electric kind that holds everything unspoken. "I probably shouldn't come by when he's not home," he said gently. "I know," I whispered. But neither of us moved. Later, as he stood at the door, he paused. "You deserve to be asked how your day was. Every single day. To be looked at like you matter." I couldn't respond. My chest ached with everything I couldn't say. "I'd never do anything to hurt him," he added, eyes downcast. I wish things were different." Then he was gone. That night, I didn't sleep. I replayed it all in my mind. Every glance, every word, every silence. I knew we couldn't cross that line. And we didn't. But the feelings had taken root. Quiet, complicated, and real. Some time later, he came by again, but this time, he wasn't alone. A woman was with him. She was lovely, warm, polite. She stood close to him in a way that spoke of something new, something blooming. I smiled, made small talk, but inside, something coiled tight. Maybe I had misread everything. Maybe he was just kind, and I had been foolishly vulnerable. But a few days later, he returned alone. We didn't sit close. We didn't touch. We just talked briefly on the porch. As he got up to leave, he paused again.
She's good, he said.
I nodded. But she's not the one, he added softly. Then he looked at me, eyes raw. I've only ever felt that with one person. And she's married to my best friend. I swallowed, throat tight. You can't say that. I know, he said. But it's true. I asked, what do we do with it? He shook his head. Nothing. We feel it. We let it exist. Because it matters, even if it can't go anywhere. And so, we pulled back. On purpose. It hurt. More than I expected. But it was necessary. Months passed. My marriage shifted. Quietly, gently. My husband seemed to notice things again, small things. He grew more attentive, more present. Maybe he sensed something had changed, maybe not. Either way, I welcomed it. I loved him. I had never stopped. But I carried something now, something quiet and true. He still came around, his friend. We were polite, respectful, careful. But every now and then, we'd catch each other's eyes across a room and remember. Not with longing anymore, but with understanding. One evening, over dinner, my husband mentioned casually, he's seeing someone new. You'd like her. She reminds me of you. I smiled. I'm happy for him. And I was. Because not all love stories are meant to be lived out. Some are meant to remind us of what it feels like to be truly seen. He gave me that. A brief, quiet kind of love. And I would carry it, always, with gratitude. After that conversation on the porch, everything changed, without a single word spoken aloud about it again. We didn't need to. The air between us had been carved by what we felt and what we knew we couldn't have. There was a kind of reverence in our distance, like we both understood that love isn't always meant to be pursued. Sometimes, it's meant to be protected by letting go. So, we began to drift apart slowly, deliberately. At first, it felt like a dull ache. He didn't stop coming around entirely. He was still my husband's best friend. But everything between us was different now. No more lingering pauses in conversation. No more quiet check-ins when we were alone.
He smiled less when he saw me.
I looked away more. We became two people who knew too much and chose to pretend we didn't. There were days when I caught myself staring at the door after he left, my chest heavy with words I'd never say. Other days, I focused harder on my marriage. I initiated more conversations with my husband. I tried to bring back the laughter that used to come so easily between us. I began noticing the way he looked at his phone more than me, the way he'd forget things I had told him just the day before. But I also began to see something else. He was trying to, in his own way. He started making coffee for me in the mornings again, the way he used to. He remembered to ask how my day was, not just out of habit, but with real interest. I don't know if he sensed something had happened, or if he just saw something fading and wanted to pull it back before it was gone. Either way, I met him there. Our marriage wasn't perfect, but we began tending to it, watering the parts that had gone dry from neglect, pruning the habits that had grown too routine. And still, I carried that other feeling. Not out of guilt, not anymore, but as a memory. A private truth that lived quietly inside me. A few months later, he came by again.
It had been a while.
He knocked softly. I opened the door and found him standing there, holding a small box of tools and a shy smile. He looked the same and somehow different, like someone who had let something go and had grown around the ache. We talked briefly about nothing really. The weather. A friend's upcoming wedding. The kind of safe conversation you have when you've both built careful walls to hold back what's unspoken. Then, as he was leaving, he paused. His hand on the doorframe, his back half turned. She's good, he said, referring to the woman he had been seeing. I nodded. I'm glad. He hesitated for a moment, then added softly, but she's not the one. I held his gaze, feeling the air stretch thin around us. You shouldn't say that. I know, he said, but I also know I'll never say it again. There was a silence, full and respectful. Then he smiled gently. Not sadly, just gently, like he was making peace with it all. I'm really happy you're okay, he said, and he meant it. Then he stepped outside into the early evening light, and I didn't watch him go this time. Time passed. The seasons shifted. Our lives moved forward. He still came around, less frequently but always with warmth and decency. My husband grew more rooted again, present in ways that reminded me of who we used to be. We traveled a little. We found laughter again. And love, in its quieter form, made a home in us once more. But every now and then, when I was alone, drinking tea by the window, folding laundry in the soft afternoon hush, I would feel it. That quiet thread, still stretched between two people who never acted on what they felt. Not a rope pulling me backward, just a thread of something once real, once beautiful, and deeply human. One evening, over dinner, my husband mentioned casually, he's seeing someone new again. You'd like her. She reminds me of you. I smiled gently, the ache in my chest now softened with time. I'm happy for him, I said, and this time, I truly was. Because not every love story is meant to be lived out. Some are meant to awaken us, to remind us of the need to be seen, to be asked, to be chosen, not out of obligation but intention.
He gave me that.
A fleeting, forbidden, unspoken kind of love. The kind that lives in the quiet spaces between breaths. The kind you let go of, not because it wasn't real, but because the most honest thing you can do with love sometimes is to not let it destroy what it was never meant to take. And I carry that memory with me, not with regret, but with gratitude. Because I was seen.
And that was enough.